What if the most dangerous secret in Washington isn't about politics, but power? And what happens when that power silences the truth before anyone even knows it exists? Kash Patel wasn't looking for secrets. He was running a routine cybersecurity audit, 3 months deep inside DHS archives. But Kash had a habit. He never stopped hunting inconsistencies. Then he saw it, a blinking red file labeled KP77, restricted access, not encrypted by national security law, sealed manually. At the bottom of the metadata, one line changed everything. Sealed executive order, Vice President Harris. Kash leaned in. That shouldn't have been possible. The Vice President has no legal authority to seal non-military, non-classified evidence without DOJ approval. This wasn't just out of order, it was out of scope. He turned to the systems analyst beside him, a young guy, nervous, probably not cleared for half of what he was seeing. "Hey," Kash asked quietly, "has this file been accessed since the seal?" "No, sir," the tech whispered. "And it shouldn't even be visible. I don't know how you're seeing it." "You didn't answer my question," Kash replied. "Who sealed it?" "It says VPHARRIS. I've never seen that format before." Kash clicked deeper into the file metadata. Evidence seizure, 11 flash drives, A-list subjects, Diddy's parties, fragmented names, Lopez, Bieber, timestamp, 2015, Tokyo. He leaned back, eyes sharp. Why would a party tape from a pop star result in an executive seal from the vice president? The systems analyst shook his head slowly. "This isn't just a party tape, sir. The internal flags say it may involve minors." The words hung in the air like a gas leak, silent, lethal, and inescapable. Kash stood. "I need to know who originally flagged this file, and I need everything you've got on whoever touched it before the seal was issued." "You'll need a second-level override," the analyst stammered, "and legal clearance." "I'll take care of clearance," Kash said flatly. "You take care of not breathing a word of this." And then, just as he was logging out, an alert pinged on his secondary email, a dead inbox he hadn't touched in months. No subject, no greeting, just one line. "You want the truth? Find Burgess. Come alone." The address wasn't typed into the body of the email. No, it was embedded deep inside the metadata, camouflaged behind character noise, tucked beneath a proxy server chain that even most DHS analysts wouldn't bother to untangle. It pointed to a fifth-floor walk-up in Manhattan's Lower East Side. And although the email gave no sender, no subject, and certainly no pleasantries, it came with one line that Kash could neither ignore nor unread. "You want the truth? Fine. Burgess. Come alone." Alone, Kash muttered to himself while gripping the steering wheel. Always the worst part. He parked 2 blocks away, not from caution, but old habit. He checked his phone, though he never intended to use it. Rain blurred the windshield like thick oil. As he stepped out, collar raised, it was less about the weather, and more about not being seen. The building was aging, buzzer broken, entry door held open by a crumbling brick. Kash moved in silence. The only sound, the damp thud of his boots on warped stairs that groaned with reluctant memory. Apartment 5B. No name, no noise, no scent. Always the worst sign. He knocked once, firm but restrained. Then again, harder enough to rattle the frame. Still no answer. "Courtney," Kash whispered, loud enough for a man behind the door to hear, but low enough to keep the hallway empty. Silence. Kash reached for the handle, and to no surprise, it turned without resistance. The lock hadn't been picked. It hadn't even been used. As the door swung open, a wave of scent spilled out, not of rot or blood, but of something artificially clean, like lemon disinfectant sprayed over a memory. It wasn't death you smelled. It was the effort to erase it. The room had been torn apart, not by panic, but by precision. Drawers emptied with surgical indifference, cushions gutted like afterthoughts. On the kitchen counter, a mug of chamomile tea was steaming, untouched, undisturbed, and terminally out of place. Courtney, Cash said again, louder now, a question laced with disbelief rather than hope. There he was, Courtney Burgess, the man whose name had long circulated among insiders, rumored to be Diddy's cleanup artist. The guy who made scandalous footage disappear for a price. Slumped on the sofa, eyes glassy, lips pale, breathless. Jesus, Cash murmured, stepping forward slowly, careful not to touch anything. You really didn't deserve this. The scene screamed overdose, but the evidence whispered otherwise. No needles, no spoons, no rubber bands or crushed pills. Instead, there was an unsettling symmetry, like someone had staged a death, then left in a hurry. Cash scanned the baseboards, peeked under the rug, and finally spotted something odd. A floor vent slightly misaligned, like it had been opened but not fully resecured. He pried the grate with his pocket knife, and there, wedged behind layers of dust and duct tape, was a single USB drive marked in faded lettering. Porter Publishing. Kim Porter, he whispered again, his voice now hollow. You left something behind, after all. Back in his car, engine off, lights dimmed, laptop air-gapped and cold, Cash inserted the USB. The video, taken in what looked like a VIP section of a Tokyo club, showed club lights dancing over blurred bodies. The audio, though grainy, was unmistakable. J-Lo's voice, caught in a rush of music and champagne, whispered off-screen. Diddy said Kamala said it's safe. Don't worry, just smile. Cash froze, not because he didn't expect it, but because it sounded rehearsed, like it had been said before, like it had been instructed. He shut the lid slowly, not because he was finished, but because he couldn't look anymore. Not yet. Hours later, an internal DHS memo would circulate, sealed, non-releasable, classified operational urgency, authorizing immediate seizure of all devices ever accessed by Courtney Burgess. No warrant, no probable cause, no explanation, only silence. They didn't just kill him, Cash said to no one. They killed the story. And in that silence, Cash understood what came next. They wouldn't come for him with noise. They'd come with disappearance. So he didn't wait for backup. He didn't wait for a headline. He didn't even wait for morning. Because when truth costs a life, delay is an accomplice. Kamala didn't respond immediately. Not because she was unsure, but because the silence after Cash's final words had become a weapon, one that she wielded with the precision of someone who had played this game longer, louder, and with far more to lose. She adjusted the microphone slowly, letting her exhale carry just enough volume to sound composed rather than rehearsed. What Mr. Patel is offering here isn't revelation, she said. It's a remix, a carefully edited morality play designed to exploit our societal scars about sexual exploitation, celebrity worship, and partisan warfare. This isn't justice, she added. This is emotional insurgency. But Cash remained still, not because he had no response, but because he knew the timing mattered more than the truth. Madam Vice President, he said eventually, voice steady. The problem isn't whether the footage is speculative. It's that it was sealed by your office without DOJ authorization and without a national security classification. That's not a technicality, he added. That's jurisdictional overreach. Kamala smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I don't fear the truth, she said. I just pity the man who believes he can shout it into a system built to outlast him. By the time Cash reached the Capitol parking lot, the coordinated media detonation had already begun, not in a single headline or outlet, but across a synchronized barrage of digital channels that delivered judgment faster than the facts could be parsed. He glanced at his phone. Alerts cascaded in rapid succession. They didn't bother to refute the claim, he murmured. They simply created a version of reality in which the claim was never credible to begin with. Rather than return home, Cash drove to a warehouse district where the lights didn't follow your license plate, and the cameras didn't feed into government contracts. He parked behind a mechanic shop, a place stained with oil, not secrets, and pulled out the USB that, for all intents and purposes, had started this entire avalanche. When he clicked open the folder labeled Porter Recording, he wasn't searching for hope, but for certainty, the kind that doesn't win arguments, yet survives assassinations of truth. The audio clip, barely 17 seconds long, was lo-fi and unadorned. Pulsing bass, breathless crowd noise, then clearly whispered despite the chaos. Kamala said, "It's safe. Just shut the curtain." He let it play again, not because he doubted its authenticity, but because he needed to memorize its rhythm, like a soldier memorizes an escape route, a signal ping cut through the silence. Lab report in, 87.3% voice match. No AI trace, clean signature, you have the real thing. If I disappear? Cash typed back, publish it all, no redactions, chain of custody included. If they come for you, the reply came instantly, you'll be the last person they fail to bury. He placed the phone down, though his fingers trembled slightly. Not from fear, but from the visceral understanding that power doesn't always need to arrest you. Sometimes, it just needs to mute you. They're not silencing me because I'm wrong, he said quietly, staring through the windshield as condensation traced slow, ghost-like patterns. They're silencing me because I said it before they could rename it. He reached for the thermos of cold coffee, his hands shaking, not out of weakness, but because he finally realized, being awake in this country is the most dangerous thing a man can be. If you believe truth should never be silenced, hit that like button. If you want more stories like this, subscribe and turn on notifications, because when we stop asking questions, we become part of the silence. Speak up, stay awake.